the start of another vlog. Yeah, because, I'm not doing enough right now. I was inspired to do a totally random Libby vlog. This one is going to be focused on audiobooks. My other current project is all ebooks, and I like to read ebooks and audiobooks simultaneously, so I thought, why not double up and do audiobooks at the same time? So Libby has this really cool feature. I'll show you the video, where you can basically filter anything you want, how the length of the audiobook, the genre, availability. So what I did is I picked a random genre. I decided to go with historical, and I decided that I needed to pick one of the first 5 recommendations of random. So I ended up picking The Future, which has actually been on my list. You can see that I've tagged it in my piqued interest. And I have been looking at this one for a really long time. It gets a lot of good praise. It is alternative history if Detroit didn't fall to, if the French still had Detroit. I think that's what it was. And it sounds like it's kind of Lord of the Flies, kids kind of rule the land. So I'll let you know how this one goes. We'll give you an update when I start it. Update for The Future. I have read about 20%, and I'm going to DNF. This book is just a bit slow and tedious. I hate to say boring. It's just there's no interest grabbing me. It reminded me at first a little bit of Station 11 and High House. This woman is going into different houses after they've been abandoned, and reminded me of the High House in its gentleness in talking. But I think I am a little bit tired of slow literature explorations of dystopia. It's not interesting. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to put this one away. This was, let's see here. It's about a woman whose daughters have gone missing, and she's going in search of them. And so far, we've just followed her and just sort of we're in her head, and she's not very interesting. And there are too many passages about her watching mice eat nuts. It's too much. It's too much. I can't. The final straw was her doing, I don't know, a tarot card reading and just giving you the oh, and then this card came up and this is what it means, and then this card came up and it's part of this arcana, and it was too explainy, and it wasn't needed, and I just went, I'm done. So which means I need to find another random pick from Libby. And the thing is, I'm focused on fantasy right now, so I want something as sort of like a palate cleanser, something to balance the fantasy. So I went with a science fiction, and this one popped up. What is it called? Big Time. And I read the description, and it was something like an espionage thriller, and I went, I haven't read an espionage thriller for a while. I don't know. It's not usually my thing, but I'm kind of into something that has a little bit of mystery to it. And already I'm about 20% in it, and it is way more interesting than The Future. So I'm going to stick with this one, and we're going to see how it goes. 50% of the way through Big Time. I'm enjoying it. I'm intrigued by it. There are 2 separate storylines rather. There is one following Grace, who's sort of in the corporate rat race, where she's just sort of been in the same job for 15 years, and then one night she gets a call after work to come in and research this particular device, this medical device that has been found on this woman. They want to be able to track down who this woman is, and they think by finding out this device, they will find that out. Grace then becomes kind of obsessed with finding out more about this woman. That's where we're at right now. On the flip storyline, we are following that woman. Her name is Allie. She got kidnapped, question mark, and she was at the hospital with this device in her. We don't know what the device does. She thinks that it's taking away her memory, but there's this also underlying possibility of time wibbly wobbly, but it hasn't really come to anything yet. My only critique of it is the fact that I'm 50% of the way in, and it feels more like I should only be 15% of the way in, meaning it could be more concise and be further ahead in the storyline than where it's at right now. But I am in it. I'm enjoying it. Let's keep going, and I'll update you next with me finished this book. You're going to begin to wonder why I'm only vlogging in my car, and that's because this is nap time, and I finished big time. Here's what's interesting. I have a lot to critique about it, but I also really had a lot of fun, so I'm not gonna complain too much. Like, to me, it was a 3, right? It was just sort of like average, middle of the road. It wasn't the sort of like espionage thriller that I was expecting it to be, because it was science fiction. I was expecting a little more timey-wimey, and I didn't get a lot of timey-wimey. Not until like the very end, and even then I was kind of like, okay, whatever. No, I just liked the whole premise of it. The whole reveal was fairly interesting, and like, I don't know if I would recommend this book, but I certainly had a lot of fun. It was a good cleanser for all of the fantasy that I'm reading. I have selected my second book, Finding Something Totally Different, and I think I looked at a mystery. I was looking for a mystery, and these illustrated covers are really popular right now, and this one caught my eye. It's called The Library of Rare Books and Special Collections. It reminds me of, so far, university days, going down to the basement. The music department is always in the basement of everything, and just going through the stacks and looking through all of the different oldies, really oldies. The smell, it kind of reminds me of that. This is following Liesel, who at first I thought was going to be like a 20-something-year-old, but it turns out she's like close to retirement, probably late 50s, which is cool. I love reading from older perspectives. It's refreshing, actually. And her usual partner, who's kind of the head of the collections, has had a brain aneurysm or something. So she's kind of in charge. And of course, while she's in charge, this really expensive, valuable Bible goes missing. Multi-volume Bible, the whole thing goes missing. And she's got to figure out what happens with it. So far, I'm liking it. It's very gentle. It's very different from what I normally do. I think this would be termed cozy mystery. So, again, it's different. It's totally relaxing. It's great to listen to on drives while somebody naps. I'll update you when I'm at the 50% mark. Once again, it's nap time, so I have a couple minutes
to talk about the Library of Rare Books and something collections. I am thoroughly disappointed with this one. Okay, so out of the way. This is not a cozy book. This is not something that you would read to give you warm, fuzzy feels. There is some very real things discussed: mental health, suicide, possible alcoholism, like these are heavy topics. This looks like a cozy read. It's not really. The mystery is mysterious until they start just going in circles. And I think that's the problem where I kind of checked out, because the main character kept having the same conversations with the same people over and over. Nothing was resolved. Everything was just kind of flat. And the main character is a bit of a doormat. Like, she just lets things happen. She doesn't really tell much to the reader. It's almost like she doesn't even trust the reader to give us any insight. And I guess that's the author's choice of trying to hold back information to reveal things, but it comes across as anticlimactic, when things are finally revealed. When a good mystery is written, all along the way, certain things are revealed. This one felt like the author was holding back, holding back, holding back, holding back, and then revealed stuff. And it made for a slower paced feel. So this was not a hit for me, unfortunately. And this is a shame too, because there's been some really cool stuff going on in the book collection world. If you are really interested in history and backstory of manuscripts or even book selling, I would recommend, there's this one book that I read last year. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about a bookseller, and he has no knowledge of books, but he becomes a bookseller, and it's kind of the behind the scenes of it. But then really, truly, one of my favorite books ever is Meetings with Remarkable Manuscripts. I would recommend this one. It is a nonfiction, and it is a wonderful historian who picks, I think it's like 9 of his favorite manuscripts to just delve into, not only the history of the making, what the contents are, but also the provenance. I would recommend that for a bit more of like a cozy manuscript kind of feel.
So after having finished, I went over to the Libby app and I searched more. And I decided upon a historical, and there were two that I was kind of going back and forth on. I've heard a lot of good stuff about Lincoln on the Bardo, but I read the description of The Yellow Bird Sings, and I don't normally like World War II stuff. I tend to be very sparse with my World War II reading, but this one captured me because it's got an element of music throughout. So we're going to give this one a shot and we'll see how this one goes.
I guess this is the car vlog. It is nap time again, so if you hear snoring. I have just finished The Yellowbird Sings. I didn't stop. This one was really good. I usually stop in the middle and give you sort of like an update of how it's going, and then it just like got away with me and I ended up finishing it. So if that isn't indicative of how this went, then this is a story set in Poland, World War II. Jews are being rounded up, and this mother and her daughter we start the story with the mother and the daughter hiding in a hayloft. And the daughter is forbidden from making any sound. They don't want to give away their hiding spot. So the daughter creates this sort of imaginary bird, this yellow bird, that sings to her and gives her all of these beautiful melodies and songs. As we progress in the book, it turns out she's got a gift for music. That's sort of the thing that tied the whole story together. Music represented the ties to old culture. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. The ties to the things that they'd lost. Family, culture, and home. In the afterword, the author says that she too has musical training, and this is so absolutely apparent in the way that music is described in this book. I absolutely adore reading books with music as sort of the binding piece. I am a musician myself, and the thing about that is that when I read a book and someone who's not a musician wrote a book, it is pretty obvious. Don't want to be snobbish, but it's sometimes you just go, did you let a musician read this? This isn't what I was expecting, but it's totally what I needed. There was a book that I read last year called The Instrumentalist, and I was kind of disappointed by that one. This one did what I wanted The Instrumentalist to do. This one was so tender and loving, really poignant. It was also a story about a mother and a daughter, and the things that a mother would do for their daughter. This is a fantastic book. Obviously, it's like heartbreaking. There is a message of hope in it, so it's not one of those like really dreary, devastating books. But the reason I'm getting choked up, the connection that I made. So how's that for a random pick from Libby? Thank you. Can we also blame the pregnancy hormones a little bit? Overall, highly recommend this one, especially for you music people out there. I think you'd really appreciate this one. I think this is like a 4.5-star book. I don't know what's making me hesitate from giving it a 5, but I think I need to sit on it a little bit longer. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching my silly little random vlog. My random Libby chooses my reading. My name is Karen. I'm the book Libernut. We'll see you again soon.